When classic menswear meets modern influence, magic happens. Today, we're bringing you two exclusive conversations with two titans of men's style. Fabio Attanasio, founder of the Bespoke Dudes and Italian icon, and Brian Sacawa, the creative force behind Bespoke Style. During the legendary Pitti Uomo in Florence, we managed to get a hold of the two and asked them a bunch of spontaneous questions. Watch as they reveal their personal journeys, give their opinions, and share insights you won't hear anywhere else. Whether you're a sartorial enthusiast or just starting your style journey, these conversations will give you a wonderful insight to two of the most well-known menswear specialists in the world. We're starting out with Brian Sacawa, who really amazed me by handling two very different professions at the same time. And then transition over to our conversation with Fabio Attanasio that shares insights to how he went from being a law student to running the biggest menswear blog in Italy and slowly transitioning into a highly successful brand over time.
Lovely bumping into you.
Of course.
And,
always a pleasure.
It is for me as well. You are one of the OGs of classic men's style, of Instagram, then you converted into YouTube. My friend, how did you do it?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
Nice.
A lot of work, a lot of passion, because I love, it's all about, why do we like to dress well? Because it makes us feel good. And I think that's a message that, resonates with so many guys. Knowing that it's having that kind of impact and has the opportunity to transform someone's life in that way is what it's all about for me, so that's why I put the work in.
Absolutely. What I always find so inspiring about you, that's why I keep bringing it up with you, is your background. I think we met in London for Gigelle Culture.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Then you told me the story that you've been in the army. Can you maybe let us something know about that? Because that is something I think a lot of people don't really know about you.
Yes, you're right, because I never really talked about it until after I was retired. So I was a saxophone player in the Army. Well, I went to school for music, and the best jobs to be a professional saxophone player, the DC military bands are where you want to be. So I auditioned for one, and when you audition for a band like that, it's your job for your entire career. So I was lucky to win a job with the United States Army Field Band. It's what I did for 20 years, playing the saxophone all over the country, basically connecting the Army with the American people. Yeah, that was my career. I loved doing it. I love performing for people. And the reason I love music is the same reason I love style. It's a way to communicate something to people without saying a thing. By the type of music you listen to, the type of clothing you wear, you're saying something about yourself, what you value and all that. So it makes so much sense in that way to me that I'm a musician, but I also love style. And I don't do too much playing anymore.
Okay.
I play Symphony in Baltimore calls me, and then I play at the W.M. Brown party twice with the Italian jazz band.
Nice.
That fills my cup.
Would you say that the one passion influenced the other, or did it any kind of way or help you or so?
People would always ask me, does the Army influence your style?
Oh, wow.
But I always say, the Army was more of a good fit for my style,
Okay, nice. And I think that's also very interesting for people because they see the final product of Brian Sacawa of Bespoke Style. How did you get to becoming this personality, to developing this style? What were your hurdles? What were the problematics you had on the way there?
When did you start?
I would say...
I feel like you were maybe about the same time or before me.
You mean
what
with
year?
With the social media?
Yeah.
2014.
Yeah, so I was I started in 2013.
Okay.
And would you ask me about the hurdles?
I think basically the question is, how did you develop your style despite from social media? Because the style must have been there before, the initial idea of doing what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it really wasn't. So it came about because I used to do a lot of extra things. We're going to peel the onion back here.
Okay, nice.
You're going to learn some things about me that maybe you didn't even know.
Okay.
We know each other. So before I did Bespoke Style, I was racing a bicycle. I was like an elite level bicycle racer, and I retired from that.
But were you on the annoying side of hey guys, that you always mash up the traffic, being in the way of cars, or were you one of the polite ones?
No, the cars were in my way.
Oh, exactly. You're that type of guy. Okay, but that's fine.
So, and I was also running a music series, kind of modern classical music series in Baltimore. So 2012, I decided to retire from bike racing. I was done with doing the music series, and I was looking for something to do in my life. I'd have to have extra stuff.
Yeah.
So it was about the time I was midway through my Army career, and I thought this is a good time to start getting into style. So I did what everyone did back then. You go online and you search, to get some inspiration. But what I found was there was a little bit of a gap. There were a lot of websites that were if I was a gentleman in the 1920s, I would read this website to learn how to dress, but that wasn't me. I was looking for something practical, so it just wasn't for me. For some people, it's great.
So it was very niche. What you found was very niche.
Yeah, it just didn't jive with me. My style is classic classic style, modern sensibility. I was looking for something a little more like contemporary.
Yeah.
And then on the other end of the spectrum was like more urban, street style, younger guys. And I was 35 years old at the time, and that really wasn't my thing. So I'm like, where's the website for the guy who's like me, just regular, wants classic style, and not being able to really find one. I just started chronicling my own journey as I was building my wardrobe, and that's really how it started.
So you had the blog before, then you converted to Instagram, or did that too?
Well, the blog started, and then we had Facebook. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, that was a time.
Facebook was a big thing, and then Instagram came out, and I'm never like an early adopter of anything, so I was sort of late to the party to that.
Yeah.
And there's just so many platforms, so you kind of have to choose. But at a certain point, I was like, so oftentimes the picture you see of someone is not, and you might think like, oh, they look like me. Like I saw you, and I'd be like on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, he dresses like me. And then it's wonderful to meet in person, and we're like, oh my God, yeah, we're like the same. We're like a brother from another mother.
With the late adoption and stuff.
Yeah. Picture, you can't speak. You can't show your personality. People can't really understand who you are on a deeper level. So I think it was like 2016 or 17. I thought I'm going to start a YouTube channel because eventually people will understand. There was no video on Instagram, but now there is. Of course, it's a different time. But back then, the only way to talk to people via social media was on YouTube. So I started this YouTube channel, and I think again, like the website, was right place, right time in history, recent history. Yeah. Going to YouTube at that moment was also right place, right time, because YouTubers had been around way before me, but I think people were looking for a different voice, a different take on things, and more into the classic style.
Would you say it took you courage to really also to switch to new platforms, build something new? Because that's what I felt like starting with YouTube, was like, how am I ever supposed to get a grip here? And then you just start doing something. I mean, with you also have this very, very high level of quality that you want to achieve before you even go out with something.
Yeah.
What was that for you?
If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I never go halfway with anything. Like some people put like the 13.1 sticker on their car to show that they ran a half marathon. I said, that's like advertising you're okay with going halfway.
I know what you mean.
And no offense to anyone who's run a half marathon. That's a big accomplishment.
I only do half things if it comes to household stuff. And my wife always complains, but that's okay.
Yeah. But yes, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right, and I make a plan and execute it. That's just how my mind works.
Wonderful. For men that are about to start, that really don't know where to start with fashion, they want to get into it, they want to improve their style, but they really don't know where to start, what to do. What would be a suggestion from your part that would help them get started?
I would say step one would be follow the style consultant, and he spoke style. Step two is, you talk about it all the time. I talk about it all the time. Just start with the basics. You don't have to go all out on day one.
Exactly.
Because people can be self-conscious wearing tailored clothing, especially if they're not in a metropolitan area where it's more common. There's a bit of self-consciousness. So I tell people you don't have to start off with a three-piece suit, right? That can feel like a costume if you're not used to wearing it. But so start with the navy blazer. Start with a classic blue suit or a classic gray suit. Get comfortable wearing one piece, and then start to build on that, because the confidence is really the key.
Wonderful. And what's your favorite part about teaching men how to dress?
It's being able to see that transformation and the confidence that it gives them.
Wonderful. I think confidence is key, and that's a major component, and that's something I love about it as well, is seeing the comments and seeing people really get into this positive cycle of, hey, now I feel confident in my own self and skin, feel confident to approach other people, to be more social, and that really gets things going. Fashion is not the most important thing in the world, I think we can agree on that, but it's a great vehicle to get yourself going, and that is something a lot of people don't really know, and I think that's what we advocate for.
I always say, what's the thing under the thing? Wearing nice clothes and dressing well isn't just like to look good. The thing under the thing is that it makes you feel good, and that can allow you to accomplish anything you put your mind to with that confidence.
And what can we expect from Bespoke Style in the near future? Is there anything you're looking forward to for 2020-25 or any other major milestone coming up?
Yeah, well, we're definitely going to go hard on the video stuff. That was a conscious decision to do more video content. I think it's how people are engaging.
YouTube or Instagram or both?
Both. I'm still trying to figure out how to get back to more long form on YouTube.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
You feel stuck right now, or what do you mean?
Not stuck. It's just a matter of time. Time is a finite resource, and if I could have 12 more hours in a day, I could make use of that. So yeah, we have some great collaboration collaborations coming up in the shop. Yeah, that's just been going well. So I say we're offering champagne quality at box wine prices.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
That's a nice way to put it. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. I just thought of the real, you have to manipulate time. Do you know that guy? I will send it to you.
No, okay.
There's a guy saying like, yeah, my day starts at 6 a.m., goes to 12 a.m. Boom, day one. Then from 12 a.m. to 6 p.m. Boom, day two. So I have 3 days in one day. Just because you're doing like this, I don't have to do like that.
Day 1 is 6 a.m. to noon. Day 2 is noon to 6 p.m. Day 3 is 6 p.m. to midnight. Your whole existence is going to change.
There's a guy just making fun of that.
Oh, really?
So that's why, like, yeah, he's got 3 days in one day.
Oh, actually, I got another thing so I've always been someone who thinks that, I take things very seriously. I'm kind of a serious dude, but
the only thing you don't take seriously is meeting up for an interview, right?
Oh, ouch.
I got a few of those. Just kidding.
I think it's good to laugh at ourselves sometimes, and menswear can sometimes be can have a little bit of attitude and whatever. But like I've been doing some like more funny little videos,
Nice.
like meme type things.
Meme?
Memes.
Memes. Ah, okay, interesting.
Meme, yeah. No.
Language barrier.
No. Yeah. So those are fun, and it's about having a good time. It's not about like being perfect or being right. That's the great thing about being here is like you see so many different styles, and there's inspiration you can take from everywhere, right? It may not be my style, but maybe I can find something to bring in. But I'm looking forward to doing these funny videos and see how it happens. Shows a different side of me.
I love it. You do a great job. I think together I'm educating the ones a little bit younger. You're right in the middle, taking everybody with you. I think that is wonderful for the future. If you're going more into video content, absolutely love it. Looking forward to seeing more from you.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically building our channels together in the future, because we will always be there, I think. And yeah, looking forward to that.
Great, man. Good to see you.
Thank you for your time.
Oh my God, of course.
This was just a sneak peek into the world of Brian Sacawa, a man that I really look up to in terms of what he's built in the menswear space. Brian and I once had a podcast here on YouTube discussing styles, trends, and giving fashion advice. If you'd like us to revive the series, let us know by dropping a comment below. Also, let me kindly highlight that liking this video, commenting, or even following this channel does not cost you a thing, but helps me tremendously keep doing what I'm doing. And once you're ready, here's the story to the passion-driven rise of Fabio Attanasio.
So Italy is very known for La Dolce Vita, and that includes the wonderful coffees, that includes cars. We got Ferraris, for example, but also suits and tailoring. I tried to get a hold of someone by Ferrari, that didn't work out, but we got another representative, and that is for suits and tailoring, Fabio Attanasio.
Hello,
How are you,
hello.
my friend?
Good morning. Very well, thank you, Justus. How are you?
I'm very well, and you? You sounded, we talked about, you have a little cold.
Yes,
that
I'm
makes it a little
sorry.
Mysterious.
Yeah, a bit more like Godfather. Yeah.
Yeah, he is the godfather to us. For the people coming to Pitti Uomo, you are one of the men that really showed us how to dress. For us, what's interesting is to get to know you. How did you start with your journey in terms of style?
Well, thank you, first of all, for inviting me for this opportunity. Everything started in 2012, actually. After graduating from law school, I decided to open up a blog. I lived in Argentina, actually, for a year before graduating, and because I won like a scholarship and I went to study there. While I was there, I realized I was not happy with what I was studying. I was not happy being a lawyer. So I came back to Milan, graduated, closed that chapter of my life, and opened up this blog, The Bespoke Dudes. Okay. And thank God it was the first in Italy, the first blog in Italy focusing on tailors, on craftsmanship, classic elegance. And then it really went from that point. I started visiting tailoring houses all over the country, from Milan to Palermo, Sicily, all over Italy, then France, Spain, UK. I even went to New York to visit tailoring houses, and I became so passionate about tailors. I started interviewing them without knowing anything about bespoke.
Okay, nice.
And as a young guy, just passionate about the industry, I just wanted to learn and share their stories. That's what I was doing on the blog. I might say that I learned a lot from them, because tailors really are among the last few people who really know the principles of classic elegance, the rules of technical technical rules of elegance and taste in Italy. So that's why I started from there. And then in 2015, I felt like I needed to create something that could go beyond my personal image, which is fun, it's fantastic, but I wanted to create something like a brand, And that's how the Bespoke Dudes eyewear came along.
I heard of it because I'm wearing it.
Exactly. TVD Eyewear is the name of the brand now. It's more synthetic, more easy to remember. And we basically already had a community of people passionate about tailoring, tie makers, shirt makers, people doing things by hand. And we decided to offer to that community a product which could be consistent with the storytelling of the blog. That's what we did, basically. We went to Cadore, Veneto. It's a region in Italy famous for, it's a district of excellence for sunglasses making back in the days. Really long history of artisanal sunglasses making. And we ordered like 21 pieces back in 2014 and launched the first Pitti was in 2015. I still remember it. Last year we've sold around 13,000 pairs.
13,000?
Yes. I'm very proud of the team. Of course, nothing could be possible without the team I have and the people who make it possible, people who help us like yourself, who have a great style and help us with the development of the brand. So thank you for that.
Very welcome. I think it's all about having a good vision, having a passion like you had, and then turning this into a product that's the most authentic it can get.
Yeah.
And then again, if you have not just a passion and a good product, but also like the whole story behind the product, how everything comes together.
Comes together, exactly.
So can you maybe tell us something about TVD? What the
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we are specialized since actually January 2020, so before pandemic, we're specialized in sustainable sunglasses. So we were among the first brands to use bioacetate in our frames. Back in the days in 2019, I remember nobody would use bioacetate. Nobody, if you Googled in 2019 sustainable sunglasses, there were only us and Stella McCartney.
Okay.
And now it seems like every sunglasses brand is sustainable.
Yeah.
So we were among the first movers, and that was a competitive advantage for us. And since 2022, we also started using bio-based lenses. We are renowned for sustainable sunglasses, but made in Italy, made by hand, not greenwashing. Okay, so we actually use sustainable materials and components. As of this year, since 2025 marks the 10th anniversary of the brand.
Wow.
We decided to launch something like a special collection, a limited and numbered online-only collection made from always bioacetate, but for the first time in the history of the brand, we used mineral lenses.
Wow.
So made from glass. So they're a little bit heavier, premium, but that was actually how vintage sunglasses were made of.
Yeah.
They were made of that. So it really adds that touch of vintage style to our glasses. That's what we want in our sunglasses. We don't want to be a fashionable brand. We want to add that flair of La Dolce Vita, Italian style, always with our, keyhole bridge, the rivets, everything is very, consistent with that idea that you were talking about at the beginning of the video. So that's what we did. It's a premium collection, and we will see how the market will welcome it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, well, that's what we're doing. And this year also we launched a couple of new collections, always from bioacetate. And to be honest, the fair Pitti Uomo is still a very important appointment for us because it's still a place where we gather and we meet people, we meet menswear brands and stores, and it's still an important fair for us.
How does it feel for you looking back to 2012, being at the verge of something new? How does it feel like being here now, looking back to 2012?
Well, to be honest, if I think about how young I was when I started, it really feels like a lifetime, it's a long time. 10 years really flew, but still I can feel the difference now. You as a person grow up, you as an entrepreneur grow up, you have a different perspective about the things. But what really is important for me, the biggest satisfaction is to have the respect of the people that I work with, and also the fact that the market is really, recognizing us as a brand now after 10 years.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy still today. I still have that sparkle in the eyes when I see someone who I don't know who is wearing our sunglasses. That's always like such an honor for me, and I will never get accustomed to that. So I'm very happy to say that.
How was your style journey? What complications did you have or problems comes to really get from not knowing something about it to knowing basically everything about it?
Well, I don't know if I thank you, but I don't know if I know everything about it. I think it's a learning curve. There's always something new that you can learn. It's a fascinating industry. At the beginning, as I told you, I didn't know anything. So when you don't have a background, it's easy to, take for granted whatever they tell you. After a while, by, interviewing more and more people, you start getting your own idea of what's wrong and what's good and what's not. That's where I did, a step forward. Because at the beginning, I would go to Milan and I would ask the tailor, how do you make a bespoke suit? They would tell me their way, but that's a totally different way from Florence, where we are now. So the Florentine school is different from the Milanese. And if you go to Napoli, where I'm from, it's even more different. And that's the beauty of it. So I realized that there's no good and bad way, as long as you, of course, respect some canonical rules. The important thing is that if a suit is artisanal, that's the beauty of the craft.
Yeah.
It's like a painting. There's no one way, not just one way of making a beautiful portrait. There are many ways, and I look at tailoring as a form of art. So whenever the suit or the garment is actually artisanal, I really look at how the concept behind it, the school that kind of artisan applies, the technicality, but also the taste. It's a mix. That's the beauty of it. So at the beginning, I learned from these guys, and then I created my own idea of tailoring. That's when I felt the need of writing something, putting on paper these stories.
So
because
you took the knowledge you had, you always took your own perspective on it and really pulled it against each other, and then you said, okay, he does like this, he does like that, but my way is in the middle.
Exactly.
And then you took all this information over the last years and you wanted to say you turn it into books, right?
Exactly. I felt the need, of finally putting on paper, black and white, these stories, because I was born, as you know, on the digital industry, with the blog and on social media. It's beautiful. I love it. We love it. We're all doing a video for the digital world. But I needed, to put these stories on paper because I wanted to, as a milestone, exactly. And that's what a book is about, So maybe people don't read a lot today, but still I was so happy. I remember with the first book because, it was, as you say, the milestone. And then from that, I wrote a second book. The first was about Italian and Spanish tailors. Second was about French and English tailors. And they were both illustrated books. Okay. My third book, the last one I wrote, and which I presented 2 days ago here in Florence, is Vita da Gentleman. It's another story. It's just a written book, no images. And it's more about good manners for the contemporary gentleman and dress code.
Oh, wonderful.
So it's important that because, good manners might seem like a stiff industry, but actually it's just the book is just a mix of pieces of advice about, good manners for the contemporary man, also in light of sexual parity, so we don't want to...
dating.
Exactly, dating stuff. And also about, of course, dress code and classical elegance. So that's it. And now I'm working on a fourth book. Exactly.
So
that's a preview.
I keep thinking about the Fabio Attanasio from 2012 that didn't really... He was finished with the one, he didn't really start with the second, and then going into this journey. That is amazing.
Thank you.
But that means if people really want to get into menswear as you did 13 years ago, one of the ways is to read your books, to get an idea of how tailoring works, how the mechanics is behind
Absolutely.
it. But also, if you want to get into the mindset of a gentleman, you could either read that one first, and that's the third one, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. The third one is not, a collection of stories about tailors. It's more, as I said, my advice about, how to be a gentleman at heart, in the manners, in the actions.
Along the way, right?
Exactly, because exactly that's important, and I would like to say that after studying a lot about tailoring and clothing in general, I felt like I needed to complete my research by focusing on the real elegance, which lies in the behavior, in the actions, in the way we talk, in the way we behave with other people, not only women but in general with other people, and that's what really being a gentleman is about, in my opinion. So
Absolutely.
that's why I wanted to write this book, and the third one is actually edited by an important publishing house, Giunti Editore. So it's in every bookstore in Italy. I'm very happy and proud about it.
Wonderful.
So,
I think we all, along the way of dressing well, we get into the mindset of gentleman style. And I think along the way we all make some mistakes, but we all learn a lot. And then giving this together in a concentrated book is very nice. One last question. For people that really do not know how to start with fashion, what's your advice for them?
First of all, if they have a passion for it, read blogs, get yourself informed through books, like or your channel, which you curate very well, as I saw. I mean, today internet really gives us access to every kind of information we want. But the real important thing, in my opinion, is if you want to learn it, it's because you like it. If you don't like it, you don't really need to feel forced to do something, because there is nothing less elegant than wearing something because you are forced to do it. Real elegance lies in the choice. From Latin, elegance comes from Latin, from the verb eligere. Eligere means to choose. So if you are elegant, it means that you chose well. That's why connoisseurs are said that they are elegant, because they know how to choose. And you only can choose when you have the knowledge about at least the rules and the principles. And of course, style is about trying to adapt those rules to your lifestyle, to what you want to be in life, the projected image that you want to give to others in the world.
Wonderful. We could do a mic drop right now, but since we're gentlemen, we don't drop any mics. And I said it's last question, but this one is last question. That is what you're wearing. We always do style checks. So if you like, tell us what you're wearing. Just start from the shoes and work your way up.
Absolutely. I'm wearing a pair of Adelaide bespoke shoes from Stivalleria Savoia in Milan. My three-piece suit is from a Milanese tailoring house. It's called Sartoria Estes. It's made from a Donegal fabric, very heavy, very, very rigid, and I love it. My tie is a wool tie from Francesco Marino Napoli. Shirt is from Davino, a Neapolitan shirt maker. And then my coat is a cashmere single-breasted overcoat from a Milanese tailoring house, which is Sartoria Montanaro. My sunglasses, of course, TBD eyewear.
Your watch, we may see that?
Yes, of course. It's a 3800. It's the small-sized Nautilus, and I love it because I love small cases, and I'm against, the trend of big, huge cases and watches, and I'm really a fan and a supporter of small, cases and watches, and I feel like the market is finally waking up.
I think so too.
I've seen some latest news in the watchmaking industry, finally with cases of 36, 37, and I think it's beautiful. That's finally after the hype, of a couple of years ago, and the bubble that broke up a couple of years ago. Now we're finally seeing people getting closer to the industry of watches because of the taste and the beauty of it, of collecting, not just as an investment, which was okay, but actually it maybe made...
Wearing watches, not just owning.
Exactly. Because sometimes when it was only for finance or just for, reselling, nothing wrong about it, but many people who were not actually, had no taste, just went in the industry just for the sake of, gaining money out of it. And I think it's beautiful to come back to that.
Wonderful. We heard about passion. Guys, if you have a passion, just pursue it. Let that be suiting, let that be anything else in life. As you heard it does take some time. He started in 2012, we're in 2025 right now, but he's also into his 4th book. So people, there is lots of time. Just take your passion and go for it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for the opportunity. Ciao. Ciao, Justus.
If you've enjoyed the juice so far, then why not squeeze out the rest and subscribe to my paid newsletter, where I've shared 5 detailed learnings I took away from this edition of Pitti Uomo. As a paid subscriber, you've got access to the archive with over 30 information-packed newsletter articles dissecting the topic of menswear and giving you shopping links. You'll receive a newsletter every Sunday, and on top of that, you'll get access to our very own Discord servers to ask questions and exchange with like-minded people. Do we have a stupid outro for today? Man, guess not. But man, I am so much looking forward to going fishing tomorrow. I bought myself a deflatable kayak, which was the best purchase of 2024, I swear to God. Fishing, Pokemon, and UFC. Get into one of these topics and I assure you, you will live a more happy life. 100%. I love it. And I love my wife, of course.